KP's Video News, y'all. It's KP's Video News, y'all.
That's right, folks. KP's Video News, y'all. I'm coming to you with the real, coming to you with the raw. That's right. So we have a black-led non-profit developer to raise $1.5 million for housing acquisition and rehabilitation, which sounds like a pretty good thing to me. And this is in Virginia, but this same situation that he's talking about can be a practical application in any city, any inner city nationwide. That goes from New York to LA, from Seattle to Miami. You can do it. This is what they're doing right now in Virginia. And Virginia Housing and Community Development Corporation, a certified black-led community development entity, and is seeking equity investors for up to $1.5 million to scale its investment model for acquiring, renovating, leasing, and selling single-family homes in low-income communities. We have a model that works for black investors, whether they're individuals, families, or minority-owned small businesses. We provide an opportunity for regular income by acquiring rundown foreclosed homes and turning those structures into quality, affordable housing for disabled and homeless veterans, ex-offenders, and low to moderate income families, those who need it the most, says James R. Taylor, founder and president of the VHCDC. We're working hard. They've been working hard for the past few years to build a pipeline of first-time home buyers and position our organization to acquire and rehabilitate foreclosed properties, which enables us to deliver quality, affordable housing to renters and first-time home buyers alike. Sidebar: first-time home buyers in the hood, in the community, you can't say that, yeah, this is our hood and we protecting our hood if you don't own nothing in that neighborhood. Now's the time to start buying up this property. Buy it. As much property as you can buy. Okay, back to the story here. And so they say they've succeeded in attracting a small number of local investors in the past 3 years who receive regular dividends of about 4% every 6 months. And their return on their dividends since July 17th is a 28.5%. That's a real decent return. 28% return on your money. You can't beat that. Now is the time to scale our partnership. There's plenty of real estate in our communities in need of attention. A significant number of disabled and homeless veterans and ex-offenders desperately in need of affordable housing, and plenty of black professionals who can invest in their backyards. We need to make this happen, said Mr. Taylor. And VHCDC, through its limited partnership, will use the funds as follows: to build an inventory of affordable housing, to secure home ownership and leasing options through targeted investment and distressed communities. Number two, continue investment model that successfully rewards investors and encourages an additional and sustained investment in Hampton Roads housing revitalization. 3, create long-term construction, contracting, and venture capital opportunities for minority-led small businesses. And 4, deliver attractive annual returns for black investors. And the community development mission of Virginia Housing and Community Development Corporation is to educate and empower individuals, families, and minority business owners to build wealth, access capital and credit, and achieve home ownership. Home ownership. Can't say it again. Home ownership. VHCDC achieves this mission through a steady stream of wealth building initiatives, including home ownership education and assistance, small business financing, and acquiring and rehabilitating distressed housing in targeted communities. It regularly trains low to moderate income individuals and families on the mechanics of purchasing a home, conducts pre-purchase and rental housing counseling, and supports and promotes the creation of investment clubs that enable individuals, families, and minority business owners to build wealth. So, hey, like I said, It empowers individuals, families, and minority business owners to invest in low to moderate income communities while reaping financial and social rewards. Local dollars are pooled to invest in real estate projects that turn once dilapidated structures into high quality, affordable, and attractive residential units. And long term, the partnership provides black investors the opportunity to support the community, economic development, workforce development, and creating jobs, neighborhood revitalization, rebuilding the neighborhood, making it look, you can turn your neighborhood into a paradise. You ain't got to wait on DC to give you what, these few pennies that they want to give you, low income housing, when you can be getting, some real nice homes out of there. So wealth building and the sustainability of predominantly black neighborhoods. And this usually means local investments in low income housing, job creation and retention, financial services, and an alternative to predatory payday lenders. Get away from the payday loans. Micro lending, child care, and community economic development. There are even opportunities for investments in the region's opportunity zone. So like I said, folks, this is something that you can do in your neighborhood, in your community. Oakland, Chicago, LA. You can be rebuilding your own communities if you get together with a few people that think the same way you think. For the organization form together and start buying up some of those properties one by one. Those old boarded up properties in your community, they're on a foreclosure list at the bank. You go down there to the bank and say, hey, they might want $40,000 for a house. By the time you get through rejuvenating that house, especially in a place like Los Angeles, you can take that $40,000 house, turn around and sell it for $400,000, or rent it out. Rent it out for $2,500 a month. So generate income, generate wealth. You got to generate your own wealth, and you have to create your own opportunities these days. There's other things out there other than dealing drugs. I'm telling you. Anyway, this is a recap on another story that I was telling you about a few weeks ago about Ann Kihagi, which is a businesswoman from San Francisco, and so they just she's catching hell up there in Frisco right now, and this is her story. Before I was telling you about what they did to her, they literally took her property from her in San Francisco and gave her property to her building to a tenant that that by law she was able to have this tenant move out of the property legally. But however, they got this crooked judge up there in Frisco that for whatever reason is out to get this black lady and out to destroy her. So this is what's going on now. So Ann Kihagi, African American businesswoman and a real estate investor, has been the victim of judicial injustice in San Francisco. Judge Angela Bradstreet has perpetrated many injustices against Ms. Kihagi, chief among them that she was harassing tenants. Ms. Kihagi says, though, that the tenants were harassing her, even circulating a group email detailing how they plan to harm her and her businesses. Judge Bradstreet awarded a sum of $140,000 to two female tenants locked in a domestic dispute that moved out. The judge awarded this sum on the basis that the couple broke up because they experienced harassment from Ms. Kihagi, even though she never even met the tenants. So can you imagine a ruling that a landlord broke up a relationship? Yet the same judge would ignore the threats of harm to the landlord from the same couple. This monetary award is just one of many of the outrageous rulings that Judge Bradstreet, culminating in over $5 million in losses. And Ms. Kihagi brought all of these rulings to the Court of Appeals. However, none of them were overturned, as the higher court does not evaluate ruling on facts, even when the facts are unsupported. After losing more than $5 million in these outrageous rulings, Ms. Kihagi was then victimized by the Umpqua Bank, the lenders on 3 of her properties. And although she never missed a mortgage payment in over a decade, the bank claims she defaulted on her loans due to not providing financial information. Ms. Kihagi had never been asked to provide such information, but suddenly last year, when the bank wanted it provided in 30 days, else they would declare her loans to be in technical default. So Ms. Kihagi received a payoff demand in 2019 and wired nearly $2 million to the bank within 3 weeks to pay off the property. However, the bank rejected the money without explanation, and then upon appealing in court, the bank said Ms. Kihagi's payment was $29,000 short. This was not true. However, the bank refused to cooperate with the escrow company and stated they would refuse any additional money wired to them. And Judge Charles Hames, another judge, was assigned to Ms. Kihagi's case and sadly followed in the same footsteps that Bradstreet followed. And he found that Ms. Kihagi should not be permitted to pay her mortgages or receive payoff demands, all of which are basic owner protections in California Civil Code 2903. This resulted in the Umpqua Bank selling her properties at nearly $5 million below their commercial value. So how is it possible that a bank can force an ownership to sell instead of accepting the loan payoff without even foreclosing on the property? It's just by relying on the power of the court to provide remedies that the laws in California would not permit against any homeowner. What happened to due process within the court system? And it's a systematic breakdown of the laws is a clear illustration of the discrimination against African American business owners the city does not like. And Ms. Kihagi's experience is not an isolated case. It could happen to anyone, especially people of color. And it's really dangerous to turn a blind eye to these abuses. And we needed to demand more from our elected officials and judicial system. And so, having said that, here's another story of an elected official in a state that I avoid at all costs. And that's what is that? Alabama, Arkansas. Republican Governor Cotton criticized for his statements. Republican Senator Tom Cotton came under pressure over published comments in which he said America's founders viewed slavery as a necessary evil. Cotton, seen as a possible 2024 presidential candidate, made the comments in an interview with in Arkansas while attacking the New York Times 1619 Project's effort to make slavery a focal point of American history for schools. As the founding fathers said, it was a necessary evil upon which the Union was built, but the Union was built in a way, as Lincoln said, to put slavery on a course to its ultimate extinction, Cotton said. Launched last year to coincide with the 400th anniversary of the arrival of African slaves on American shores back in 1619. The New York Times 1619 Project would place the consequences of slavery and the contributions of African Americans at the center of U.S. history. Cotton wants to withhold federal money from an elementary and secondary school curriculum promoted by the project. Cotton's criticism of his remarks was swift. And one person stated, if chattel slavery, heritable, generational, permanent, race-based slavery, where it was legal to rape, torture, and sell human beings for profit, were a necessary evil, as Tom Cotton says, it's hard to imagine what cannot be justified if it is a means to an end, stated Nicole Jones, a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist who launched the 1619 Project, and Robert Wright, who was the U.S. Labor Secretary under the former President Bill Clinton sought to tie Cotton's remarks to the 2020 election battle for control of the Senate. He said, "This, my friends, is why the Republican Party, this is today's Republican Party, and make sure they lose control of the Senate on November 3rd. In fact, make sure they lose control of everything, including the presidency. They've lost the right to govern," Reich said stated. But the Arkansas Republican Tom Cotton, who is running for re-election this year, time to get him out, vote him out. That's down in Arkansas. Dismissed news coverage said he described slavery as a necessary evil. He stated that this is a definition of fake news. It sounds like Trump over there. Cotton wrote on Twitter. Oh yeah, he's on Twitter, but you're not saying it in front of a camera. You're on Twitter. He said that the founding fathers viewed slavery as a necessary evil. In response, Ms. Jones tweeted, "You said, quote, as the founding fathers said, it was the necessary evil upon which the Union was built. That as, quotes, and that denotes agreement." So that means you agreed with what they stated. And the New York Times came under criticism early this year for publishing a column by Cotton urging that the federal government to use the military to put down street protests over police violence and racial injustice. So this Tom Cotton dude is out of control, out of Arkansas. You, folks down there in Arkansas, I don't know what you're using right now, but you need to use something. You need to use your right to vote. And that's coming up in November. Get it together. Because this Tom Cotton, Senator Tom Cotton over there, it's time to get rid of him. It's time for him to go. He's talking about slavery was a necessary evil. Yeah. Time for you to go, pal.
It's KP's Video News, y'all.